Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled you're here today because we are putting on our tech detective hats. We're going to dive headfirst into a highly anticipated advanced-level cybersecurity forensic report that completely deconstructs a platform known as RepublicGCV. Now, if you've been following the chatter around new digital assets and blockchain platforms, you've probably heard the name. But today, we aren't just looking at the glossy marketing materials. We are digging into the raw, unvarnished code and architecture to uncover the actual technology behind their massive claims.
Okay, let's dive into this. Right off the bat, the forensic report hits us with this definitive, honestly shocking conclusion. Not a single component meets the technical definition of a blockchain. Let that sink in. This isn't just an opinion. This is the final verdict from a rigorous, advanced-level scientific and technical audit. For a platform positioning itself as the literal next big thing in decentralized technology, this statement is a massive red flag that we just can't ignore.
So, to understand exactly how the auditors reached that wild conclusion, here's how we're going to break this down. First, the RepublicGCV illusion. 2. Investigating the features. 3. The centralized backend reality. 4. Anatomy of the scam. 5. The smoking gun. And finally, the final scientific verdict. We're peeling back the layers step by step.
All right, starting with Section 1, the RepublicGCV illusion. Let's set a baseline for reality.
You know, before we can accurately spot a fake, we really need to know exactly what the real thing looks like. According to formal computer science principles, a genuine blockchain isn't just a fancy marketing buzzword. It's a highly specific architectural system. It strictly requires a distributed ledger, cryptographic hashing to actually secure the data, consensus algorithms so the network agrees, active node validation, and immutable records, meaning data that simply cannot be secretly altered. A real blockchain relies on these exact, non-negotiable elements to function. Keep this baseline in your head as we move forward because it's super important.
Moving on to Section 2, investigating the features. Let's take a peek behind the interface.
Think of this whole thing kind of like a Hollywood movie set. The front end looks like this massive, high-tech spaceship dashboard, right? But walk around to the back, and it's literally just painted plywood with some blinking LED lights. Let's compare the nodes. A real blockchain node actively communicates. It has a peer ID, an IP address, it talks over specific ports, and it actively participates in consensus. But the RepublicGCV quantum node server? It's pure painted plywood. It's a simulated user interface just displaying text like deploying nodes with zero real network connections. There's no network topology and absolutely no peer discovery.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast in how they handle your money, or, well, the illusion of it. A genuine crypto wallet uses advanced cryptography. We're talking private keys, public addresses, and digital signatures that are validated on-chain. RepublicGCV touts this fancy quantum wallet that they claim is P2P network ready. But the forensic analysis, it found absolutely no address formats, no cryptographic signatures, no gas fees, and zero network chains. It's actually just a standard data storage interface masquerading as a secure crypto wallet.
So, what about their GLT token and those massive rewards they promise, like getting 314159 points? Well, I hate to break it to you, but it's not a real digital economy. It's just an internal point system stored on a standard run-of-the-mill database. You can't transfer these tokens to a public blockchain because, frankly, they don't exist on one. It relies entirely on gamification. It's designed to trigger a dopamine hit and make you feel like you're earning something super valuable, when in reality, you're just racking up meaningless points on their private server.
Which brings us to Section 3, the centralized backend reality. Time to peel back the curtain.
Leaving the glossy Hollywood set behind, let's look at the actual, undeniable architecture running underneath all this. If you have ever built even a basic website, this flow is going to look incredibly familiar. RepublicGCV operates on a completely standard, centralized web stack. A client browser talks to a front end, which talks to an API layer, which pulls from a standard database. Boom, that's it. Why does this matter? Because it means a single central authority controls absolutely everything. Every balance, every node status, every reward, it's all mutable data that the site owners can just go in and alter at will. Decentralization? There's zero of it here.
To hide this basic web setup, the platform relies heavily on what I'd call fabricated technical branding. They claim to use things like the enhanced Euler shield, quantum algorithms, and a consensus matrix. I mean, come on, those sound more like props from a sci-fi movie than actual computer science, and the auditors entirely agree. When checking formal academic literature like IEEE, ACM, and NIST standards, these algorithms simply do not exist. It's pure pseudoscientific terminology designed strictly to sound intimidatingly smart.
And this brilliantly illustrates the whole picture right here. When the auditors ran this pseudo-tech against our non-negotiable baseline for a blockchain, the result was an absolute wipeout. Public ledger? Fail. Transaction hash? Fail. Node network? Fail. Consensus layer? Fail. Immutability? Fail. RepublicGCV fails every single technical requirement. By formal definition, it is definitively not a blockchain.
All right, on to Section 4, Anatomy of the Scam. This is where technology meets psychology.
So, if the technology is totally fake, what's the actual motive here? To understand that, we have to look at how they use psychological manipulation. The creators use this highly calculated mix of flashy technical animations and psychological pressure to keep you hooked. They use complex UIs and fake blockchain explorers to simulate legitimacy. They introduce false authority figures, like calling someone the president, and they cultivate this intense us versus them mentality by calling their users warriors. When you combine that tribalism with a highly addictive reward system pumping out fake tokens, you create an environment where users become deeply emotionally invested.
Here is the chronological pipeline of how it works. First, they build trust through community and false authority. Second, they simulate activity, using those fake node animations so you really believe you're part of a booming network. Third, they engage you deeply through those gamified rewards. And finally, once you are fully hooked by the simulation, the exploitation begins.
And listen up, because that exploitation carries some very real-world danger. Since this is just a standard web infrastructure controlled by an unknown central authority, the forensic audit issued a serious cybersecurity warning. Actively logging in or interacting with this site puts you at a medium to high risk of credential harvesting, device fingerprinting, and session tracking. Your personal data is at significant risk the very second you engage with this platform.
Section 5. The Smoking Gun. The Missing Core.
We have reached what is absolutely the most crucial piece of evidence in this entire explainer. In computer science, things are rarely ambiguous, and here is the incontrovertible proof. The system has no hash, it has no block, it has no cryptographic signature, and it has no node. Without these four foundational pillars, it is mathematically, structurally, and technically impossible to call the system a blockchain. The core simply does not exist. Finally, Section 6, the final scientific verdict, the truth revealed.
To wrap this all up, the official scientific conclusion from the audit is absolute and undeniable. RepublicGCV is officially classified as a centralized simulation system. It's a pseudo-technology platform. It is literally just a standard web platform simulating blockchain elements without any valid technical implementation whatsoever. It is not a crypto system, and it is entirely centralized.
The audit also clearly states this critical finding, which is super important for folks in the broader digital currency community. The report explicitly concludes that RepublicGCV has absolutely no connection to the Pi network. It's vital to dispel these community rumors right now so legitimate projects aren't falsely associated with this pseudo-technology.
Based on everything we've uncovered today, the total lack of real tech, the centralized control, the psychological manipulation, and those huge data risks, the forensic report issues a massive, blinking red consumer protection warning. Do not log into this platform. Do not save your data on it, and do not trust the system. You absolutely must protect yourselves from this specific scam.
I'm going to leave you with this thought-provoking question to chew on. If a digital system cannot be verified publicly and cryptographically, if the code simply doesn't do what it claims it does, why are we, as a society, still so easily fooled by a clever user interface and some fabricated terminology? In this digital age, the line between revolutionary technology and a painted Hollywood set is often just a few lines of code. Always verify the tech before you trust the claim. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and please keep your digital lives secure.